Hi there. What are some of the big projects in Kenya? Projects which were undertaken or coordinated by the government of Kenya through different forms of financing. What you're seeing right behind me is part of the SGR, the standard gauge railway, which runs all the way from Mombasa to targeting to reach the western part of the country. And the good news is that actually Uganda also confirmed that it's going to continue building SGR into the country. This is going to be one of the biggest road and belt projects championed by Chinese institutions, of course financed through different Chinese mechanisms, to ensure roads and also other infrastructure in the region, more so in Africa, open up. That's why I want to discuss with you three big projects which were actually financed and championed by the government of Kenya, which are aimed at spurring economic activity in Kenya. And when we talk about Kenya, we are talking about a country which has a GDP upwards of 110 billion US dollars. That is quite a big GDP. In fact, it puts it among the top 6 countries in Africa with regards to its GDP. That's why you've seen over the past few years, the government has gone all in on infrastructure projects to see how best they can continue stimulating growth of the economy. One of them being this massive project behind me, which runs all the way from Mombasa to entering the western part of the country, aimed at opening up the country to other economic possibilities. Having said that, you are all much welcomed to the Money Daily YouTube channel. My name is Afagza Sifuna. And by the way, if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to this channel, because I'm out here each and every day bringing you awesome videos around personal finance, investing, going out there to show you places like this one I'm showing you today, this part of the SGR. Thank you for subscribing, and also if you still at it, consider liking this video. Thank you. Having said that, guys, as I mentioned, Kenya is one of the big economies in the Africa continent. And of course, based on that, the government of Kenya in no way does it want to let go its strength in the region. In fact, we all know, for example, in East Africa, Kenya is the big brother, assisting all the other countries in case of anything. And actually, for you to be a big brother, you need to have a strong economy. That's why even the government has gone all out to ensure that these projects actually continue in the country. You could be wondering, which are these three big projects I want to talk about? The first project is what you're seeing, section of it behind me, the SGR, okay? The second project is the Nairobi Expressway, which actually is a one of its own kind. In fact, one of the longest expressways in the region, in the entire East and Central Africa. That is the biggest expressway, the Nairobi Expressway. And then the third one is the revamping of the port of Mombasa. Let's talk about the first project, the SGR. Guys, the SGR is a very massive project. And I'm saying so because what you're seeing right behind me, a section of the SGR running all the way from Mombasa to western part of the country, is a project whose cost actually is upwards of 360 billion shillings. In other words, the kind of project which costs the range of about 10% of Kenya's annual budget. That is how massive this project is. And actually it was committed to be built by the government of Kenya in partnership with the Chinese Road and Belt Project. And the financing part of it was actually through some of the major banks and institutions in China. That's why you normally hear people saying, for example, we have a debt owed to Chinese because of such kind of projects. And I'm very sure a good number of you have actually experienced, for example, traveling through the SGR. Have you traveled through the SGR? Maybe it be through the terminal of Ngong, maybe the terminal of Mulolongo, Mombasa, you name it. Have you traveled through the SGR? If you have, comment down below. How was your experience? Do you think that is a game changer from how travel used to happen before? Share down below. How was your experience? So guys, as I've said, this kind of project was aimed at opening up the country in two folds. First of all, assisting with traveling of passengers, whereby passengers can travel at a low cost using the SGR. And then secondly, also transit of cargo. We all know previously there has been an inland container depot in Nairobi around that industrial area, Mombasa Road area. But also the previous regime was thinking about opening an inland container depot around the Mai Mahiu area, Naivasha ecosystem, so that those containers which are going to, for example, say Uganda, western part of the country, can actually be cleared from that inland container depot around Naivasha area instead of them causing backlog in Mombasa. That tells you also that this project was aimed at ensuring there is smooth movement of cargo in our beloved country. Okay, and as I've said, this cost us 360 billion Kenya shillings. Of course, we are still paying a good chunk of this loan. And then the second project is the Nairobi Expressway, which is an almost 30-kilometer expressway running all the way from Westlands to past Mlolongo. We're talking about the entire stretch. In case someone wants to move from the western part of the town, Nairobi, to the eastern part of the town, they can use the Nairobi Expressway, which also is a massive project. And in fact, that project cost 65 billion to build. That's how insane the investment was. And of course, that project is actually being run by the China Road and Bridge Corporation, okay, CRBC, which is going to run it for the next almost 30 years to recover the investment before now it is handed over to the government of Kenya. That was the arrangement, and of course, as I've said, it cost the country 65 billion in form of 100% loan financing. Looking at the repayment, the country is bound to repay upwards of 105 billion for it to be able to actually own the expressway. So that's the kind of investment we are talking about, which was made by the government, of course, through also partnership with the China Road and Bridge Corporation to ensure, for example, the expressway is up and running. If also you have had the opportunity of using the Nairobi Expressway, comment down below. How was your experience? Did it shorten your travel, which you experienced, for example, from the western part of the town to the Eastlands area or even to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport? How was your experience? Comment down below. And then the third mega project which is being undertaken by the government of Kenya is the project of revamping the port of Mombasa. That investment began in 2018. Right now, we're talking about it being at the very extreme final touches or just a few pending areas. But that project cost the country 35 billion to revamp the port of Mombasa with the aim of expanding the port and also easing the transactions, which sometimes could get tedious, and even so, thinking about storage. How is cargo held in demurrage as it's waiting to enter the country? That project cost the country 35 billion shillings for it to be undertaken. And I'm pretty sure if you live in the coast or if you've been there, you can attest to it that actually the operations at the port are smoothly transiting. Of course, in the south coast, it is Mombasa, and also there is a mega project also being undertaken in Lamu to open the port of Lamu. So guys, those are some of the major projects which have been spearheaded by the government of Kenya to at least open up the economy so that people can be able to experience better economic fortunes. Businesses out there can thrive. And by the way, as I look to end this video, I won't just cut at a difficult point in time. We all understand that the economic situation is getting quite strenuous, and woe unto us because as a country, we have quite crazy debts, both external and internal debts, which actually run into trillions because of the different mega projects, some of which I've talked about, even other, for example, the Nairobi Southern Bypass, which cost the country 18 point something billion. Guys, these are some of the mega projects still we are financing and repaying as a country. And that's why you see, for example, the government day in, day out talking about we're fastening our safety belts. It's because of such projects, which in the grand scheme of things, they're going to really spur economic growth in the country, because over the next 6 years, we're going to see benefits. The benefits aren't immediate, but be sure in the coming years, we're going to see benefits of these mega projects. But as of now, let us fasten our safety belt because, guys, it is clearly a hard drive. but we hope for a better tomorrow. What do you all think about these projects? Thanks for watching. I look forward to share with you guys other awesome videos next time. Bye bye, and you all stay safe.